Here is your video explanation of how to create the special triangles without memorizing them, if you need to use them. So the first one we will do is the special triangle with pi over 4. And in order to create it, you start by drawing a square. There we go, good enough. So because it's a square, we know that all 4 sides are equal. So the easiest option is for us to choose all 4 sides as length 1. Right now in the square we know that we have right angles at the corners. Normally that would be 90 degrees, but we would like to do this using radians. So we're going to label those as pi over 2. And that would be all 4 corners. The next thing we're going to do is split the square diagonally right down the center. And when we do that, we've now cut the angle in half. It's called bisecting that angle. So where it used to be half of pi, now it's half of that. So it becomes a quarter of pi, or pi over 4. At this point, we can erase this half. And that is our special triangle. In order to find the side length of the third side, we would just use Pythagorean theorem and say that the third side is 1 squared plus 1 squared. And we end up with the square root of 2. And that is our first special triangle without having to memorize it. The second special triangle is a little bit more complicated to figure out, but it's not impossible. And the more times you do this, the easier it will get, and then you won't need to memorize it ever again. So the trick is to start with an equilateral triangle, and this is sort of the tricky part. We're going to make all the 3 sides equal to 2. And all 3 angles are going to be 1/3 of pi. And that comes from the fact that we know that all 3 angles in a triangle add up to pi. You could also think about that as all 3 angles in a triangle add up to 180 degrees. We're used to that, we're not used to pi, but it's the same idea. So all 3 angles in a triangle add up to 180. So each angle in an equilateral triangle add up to pi over 3. From this triangle, we're going to essentially cut it in half. As soon as we do that, we're going to erase this side because we now have 2 little sections that are each 1 unit long. And we're also going to erase this angle at the top because it also is bisected just like in the last triangle and becomes pi over 6, which we get from half of pi over 3. At this point, if we want, we can erase one side because they're both identical. And you'll notice that this triangle looks familiar. It's our special triangle with pi over 6 and pi over 3. If we want to find the one sort of last side there that we haven't yet done, we're going to use Pythagorean theorem. So 1 squared plus whatever that missing side is equal to 2 squared. So we end up with the square root of 4 minus 1, which is the square root of 3. I hope this helps and maybe helps you understand where the special triangles come from, that they weren't something that we just made up, that it's all logical where the numbers come from, and this way will never steer you wrong if that's how you choose to memorize it.